Welcome to Smackey's Garage. Today we're going to be looking at this specific chair built by Vyper Industrial. This chair is completely made in the USA, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it together. Then I'm going to do a review of it as I've been using it for the past few weeks to tell you what I like about it and is it worth the money. Now, as I've been working in this garage for the past few years, I've had to keep upgrading things to keep up with all the projects that I want to do. There are some things that I've had to upgrade to run the tools that I need, and there are some things that I just want to do for my health, for my safety, to make it a better time in this garage. Now, and as you can probably see behind me, a few things that have recently showed up. There's new air compressors. When I say new, it's not really new, but it's a high quality air compressor rather than the quiet one that I was running. This one has almost 10 cubic feet per minute of air versus the 2 cubic feet per minute of air that I was running to run the tools. But one of the things that I've kind of been lacking on is my shop chair. Now, I've had this chair for the past few years that I've been here in the garage, and it's held up pretty well. Originally I did damage it because I did put a little bit of extra weight on this hoop here. I think I stood on it. You can actually hear it broken. But I put a little bit of extra weight on it. It broke. I've been using it for a little while now. It works, but it was time to finally upgrade. And I decided to spend a good amount of money upgrading because of what I'm hoping is a very quality product. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to open it, we're going to put it together, and then we'll take a look. So I ended up purchasing a Vyper chair from their website. It's a fully American-made chair, all the components. It's built in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to assemble it. We'll take a look at it, and then we'll talk about, is it really worth the price to spend that much on a chair? Now, for this chair, I probably spent $50 on it. I'll go back and look and see what it actually was. The Vyper chair, I spent around $600, $700 shipped to get here. Now let's go ahead, let's take a look at the box, see what's in there, and see what makes this chair so special. Ignore how dirty my garage is. I'm probably like everyone else where I've purchased way too many projects and I have way too many projects started that I need to get through. So I have snowmobile that's not running, air compressor that needs a new regulator, needs to go into there. Got a sandblast cabinet for some of the 69 Mustang projects coming up. So as I've been expanding this garage, I've bought everything. I haven't put it in its final location. So that's just a bunch of other projects that I need to do that I'm still working on getting to. But let's go ahead, let's start taking a look at this Vyper chair. Now inside the box, we're gonna have my build sheet. Essentially this one here is the one that I purchased. Got a nice big ring. This one is not coming apart like my last one did. So you got the Vyper seat rest. I got some nice wheels for the casters. Now we'll compare these to the ones that I purchased previously. And looking at the detail of them, they feel really nice. And one of the other things I've noticed is you do have the Vyper logo here, which is really cool to see because that means that they're probably just not getting these off the shelf. They're actually having them made for them. Now what's left in the box, you can see I got the seat here. It's like the giant rod that the seat sits on. Here are the red legs that I got, some more hardware. And then this will hold the seat back up. So I don't exactly know what this is for yet, but it is a giant piece of milled and machined aluminum. It's very cool to see stuff like this because you see a lot of companies now aren't really doing things like this. They're using cheap parts versus this, where you can still see some of the machining marks on it, which is really cool to see. So it's just overall nice to see. And then a lot of these parts, oh, these are cast. Yeah, these are cast steel, I'm guessing, and they're extremely heavy. Now looking at this instruction manual, it's probably, sure, it's on paper, the nicest one I've ever seen. I mean, just take a look at kind of the quality of instructions, quality of printing here. It looks like it's probably a CAD assembly that they used to build the instructions off of. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put this together, and then we'll take a look at it when it's fully assembled. Now, as I'm removing all the nuts and bolts, the first thing I'm noticing is You know, the parts are actually separated, so I don't need to go through and, okay, it's kind of a mess here, but, so all the nuts and bolts are separated by size so that I don't need to go through and separate them myself. You know, building something like this, you know, it's really the little things that matter. And looking at the instructions, you know, everything is labeled there as 1-to-1, so I know that's the bolt size that I'm going to be using. So I can just take the bolt, drop it on, so that's not the right size. So this is one of them, you can see it right here. And then a shorter one, so I'm guessing this one. So really cool, really nice. Really cool that everything is that well labeled. Just gonna make it that much easier to put everything together. Look at that, everything's nicely drilled and tapped. There's no resistance at all putting a lot of this together. That's just gonna make things so much easier. One of the nice things about this as I'm pulling everything together is everything's just slipping right into place. I'm not finding any issues with any screws binding, anything not fitting correctly. So they definitely took their time building and engineering this chair and built it really nice. You know, just the build experience of putting this chair together is great. So far, we're just doing the casters. So as I'm building this, it feels absolutely rock solid. I mean, look at the amount of bolts that are in this portion right here. It's gonna be unbelievably solid. It's a nice, heavy product. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the seat on, and then we'll take a look at it. This is one giant threaded rod. Now I haven't tightened this back yet, so it's the bottom of the chair, it goes to the backrest. But let's look at how tight these tolerances are between this and this bracket. Again, just a good example of quality engineering. Now, let's put it all together. You know, while building this, I was thinking, did I buy the right thing when I'm looking at the quick seat adjust versus just having it the Acme rod? I went with the Acme rod for my option. We'll try it out for this week. I'll see how it is. You know, I'll give you guys a review after a week of use. Is this bad where I'm building my new chair while sitting on my old chair? But I will say this build experience was really nice. It does take you a lot longer than you expect to get it to the height you want it. All right, now I'm going to use it for the next week and we'll go to the final review here. All right, so I'm doing this at the end of one of my other videos that I'm filming that may or not be up on the channel yet. So working on the snowmobile and getting a lot of work done to it. Essentially, I have an issue with the engine, but we're here to talk about the chair. So as you can see, I'm using the chair. I actually really like this chair. You know, for me in the garage, it really checks all the boxes. That other one that I had didn't go up tall enough. You know, if you look at the casters on it, the casters on it were really small. They didn't want to roll well compared to this, which has much larger wheels on it, and it's just so much better in the garage. The only thing that I noticed downside on it is the ring that's underneath it that you put your feet on. It's much wider than the previous ones. It is comfortable, but the issue that I see is if I'm working on something, you know, I can't push it all the way in sometimes just because that's where that ring is. And sometimes I like to move into something and kind of work sideways. But, you know, other than that, it's been fabulous to have in the garage. Now I went back and I looked at what the cost of that previous chair that I bought was. You know, that thing that looks like it has casters or that came from an office chair, which, you know, honestly, they most likely did. I paid $120 for that. Now, this chair here being $670-ish that I paid for, I'm really happy with it. You know, I think, my personal opinion, in my garage, it's definitely worth the money. I think having the back support, being able to have something nicely rolling, something that works really well and that's comfortable is worth the money to me. Now, you could buy 5 of those chairs, but still not going to be as comfortable. And even if you're spending $120 and they're breaking every 2 years, you're going to work your way up to the price of this chair. So for me, it is worth the money. One other thing that happened when I got this chair is, I got an email from Vyper saying that, hey, they found an issue. They supplied some of the wrong locking nuts with it. The ones that they sent with the chair were really tall. The ones that they just sent were much shorter. Knowing that they saw a potential issue with the chair or the wrong parts with the chair, it was nice that they proactively sent everything out. And I think you really only get that from a lot of these more local US companies. So for myself, I am really happy with this chair. I am really happy with this product. If you are thinking about it, you're on the edge, definitely get one. Thanks for tuning in this week on Smackey's Garage. I'll see you next time.